All right, strap in, everyone, because we're diving deep today
Deep.
into a question that's kind of, well, it's about endurance in athletics,
Right.
but it also applies to everyday life.
Absolutely.
How bad do you want it?
Yeah.
We're going deep into Matt Fitzgerald's book, well, excerpts of it anyway.
Right.
Mastering the Psychology of Mind over Muscle.
It's a good one.
And get ready.
Yeah.
Because there are some surprising things in here
Oh, yeah.
about how much our brains can really affect how we perform.
Absolutely. And,
Whether you're running a marathon
yeah.
or just, dealing with a hard project at work.
Yeah. One of the best things about Fitzgerald is he's got all these stories about
Yeah.
real athletes, and it really brings it to life.
Yeah.
Even the sciencey stuff.
Oh, for sure.
It's very engaging.
It's not just theory.
Right.
He gives you, real-world examples.
Yeah. And he starts right off the bat
Yeah.
with talking about his own first endurance race as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
He won, but he felt like he was going to pass out.
He was ready to tap out.
And it really makes you wonder if maybe our brains are holding us back.
Yeah, it's maybe it's not the muscles all the time.
It's a whole paradigm shift.
Yeah.
For years, everybody was focused on VO2 max, the lactate threshold,
Right.
all that physical stuff.
Right.
But Fitzgerald,
Yeah.
he really makes you think about this central governor model,
Oh, yeah.
that our brains are kind of putting the brakes on,
Yeah.
even when our muscles are okay,
Yeah.
based on, how much effort we think we're putting in.
So perceived effort, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
How hard it feels.
Yeah, and it's a safety mechanism
I see.
to keep us from hurting ourselves.
Okay, so our muscles are actually capable of doing more,
Potentially, yeah.
but our brains are whoa, hold up.
Yeah, let's not push it too far.
So if it's all about perception, does that mean we can train our minds to do more?
That's the question, isn't it?
The big question.
Yeah, and Fitzgerald, he looks at it from so many angles.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Even training,
Okay.
you'd think you get fitter, things would feel easier.
Mm.
But he says it's more about managing effort,
I see.
not getting rid of it.
Okay.
Your body might not resist as much,
Okay.
but you still feel it.
You're aware of it.
Yeah, just maybe not as scary.
So it never really gets easy.
Oh.
Even when you're super fit?
Maybe not easy, but you can handle more.
Yeah.
It's like building mental calluses.
Okay.
And he says some of the most important muscles,
Okay.
they're not even in our legs.
Right.
It's inhibitory control.
Okay.
Being able to focus.
Even when
Even when you want to quit.
when your brains say no more,
Yeah.
That's it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he uses those ultramarathoners as an example.
Oh, yeah, the ones who could just block everything out.
They just keep going.
Yeah, just focus on the next step.
Yeah, the next mile.
I think we could all use a little more of that.
Definitely.
Not just for sports,
Right?
but for,
Life.
life in general.
It's like resisting that extra slice of cake.
Ooh, yeah.
Inhibitory control.
That's a good one.
It's a muscle we can all work on.
Yeah. So we've got the physical training.
Right.
We've got the mental focus.
Yeah.
But what about, the drive?
Motivation.
Yeah, that's huge.
And Fitzgerald, he talks about his own journey.
He does.
He was, I guess you could say,
A head case.
a head case.
Yeah, he'd give up in races.
Really?
But he became a mentally fit athlete.
Wow.
So it's not like you have to be born tough.
You can learn it.
You can develop it.
So anybody can do this.
That's the takeaway.
That's huge.
It's within reach.
Yeah, so we've got the potential.
Yeah.
But sometimes motivation isn't enough.
Right. Sometimes you need tools.
Yeah, like
Yeah, actual strategy.
coping skills.
Yeah, when your brain is just screaming at you.
Like Uncle, I give up.
I'm done.
And Fitzgerald has a ton of those.
He does.
Remember Sammy Wanjiru at the Chicago Marathon?
Oh, yeah, the mind games.
Mind games. That was incredible.
He wasn't even feeling great physically,
Right.
but he won.
He outsmarted his opponent.
Yeah, even when you're exhausted.
You can still use mental tactics.
Exactly. And then there's Alyssa McCaig.
Okay.
She was afraid of choking,
Right.
but she turned that into fuel.
Wow. So she was like, I'm going to use this fear
Yeah, she used the thought of future regret.
to push through.
Yeah, to push through the present pain.
Wow.
Powerful stuff.
It's like sometimes you got to tap into those
Yeah.
not so pleasant emotions.
It's not all rainbows and sunshine.
No, it's real.
It's real life.
It's using what you've got.
Exactly. And Fitzgerald calls this angry resolve.
Okay.
And there's actually science behind it.
Really?
Anger can actually increase your pain tolerance.
and boost performance.
So it's like turning that negative emotion into
Rocket fuel.
rocket fuel. Yeah.
But, you got to channel it the right way.
Right. You don't want to become a rage monster.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a tool in the toolbox.
Okay. I'm writing this down.
Okay.
Harness the power of anger.
There you go.
But what about when you know it's going to be tough?
Right, like before a race.
For a presentation.
Oh, I don't know.
Anything stressful.
Dentist appointment?
Yeah, dentist appointment. Exactly.
Fitzgerald has a strategy for that, too.
Okay, let's hear it.
He calls it bracing.
Bracing.
It's like mentally preparing
Okay.
for the discomfort.
You're not trying to get rid of it.
Right.
You're just accepting it.
Yeah, it's part of the process.
So it's like preemptive mental callus building
I like that.
for the tough stuff.
For the inevitable tough stuff.
I'm seeing a theme here.
Yeah.
It's about preparation
It is.
for those specific challenges,
Uh,
but also just like life in general.
Yeah, like getting ready for whatever comes your way.
And one story that really shows how amazing our minds can be
Oh.
is the one about Willie Stewart,
Willie Stewart, yeah.
the rugby player,
Who lost an arm.
and then became an Ironman.
An Ironman triathlete.
Talk about never giving up.
Incredible.
But Fitzgerald, he calls it the workaround effect.
Right.
Like when we face limitations,
Yeah.
our brains get creative
They do.
and find new ways to do things.
It's amazing.
So it's not just about overcoming a disability. It's
Wow.
about any setback.
It applies to everything.
Think about Django Reinhardt.
Oh, yeah, the jazz guitarist.
He lost the use of some of his fingers.
And he created a whole new style of playing.
It's like limitations can actually unlock new potential.
They force you to innovate.
You have to find a different way.
And you discover things you never knew you could do.
It's a whole different way of looking at obstacles.
For sure.
It's not I can't.
Right.
It's I haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, it's a mindset shift. It's like the power of the human mind.
It's incredible.
It's not just about pushing through.
It's about being smart about how you push.
And Fitzgerald, he's got so much more to say about that.
Oh yeah, we're just getting started.
I can't wait.
Me neither.
Let's keep going.
All right, let's dive in. One thing that really stood out to me in Fitzgerald's book
Yeah.
was how he balances the inspirational stories.
Right. Those triumph over adversity moments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With examples of things going wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Like remember Jenny Behringer?
Jenny Behringer. Yeah.
The star runner.
Yeah, she was amazing.
Undefeated all season.
A total phenom.
And then she just bombed in her final race.
It was rough.
Yeah, it was hard to read
You
about.
had felt for her.
Yeah, it was like a cautionary tale.
About the pressure.
The pressure they face.
Yeah, these athletes.
But Fitzgerald, he digs deeper.
Okay.
He calls it competitive self-sabotage.
Competitive self-sabotage.
Yeah, he thinks she was so focused on the future.
Like turning pro. Yeah, endorsements, the whole thing.
Right.
That it messed with her in the present.
It's like when you're so excited about a vacation,
Yeah,
you can't focus on work.
exactly. But the stakes were way higher.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But doesn't that contradict the bracing idea?
Yeah, shouldn't she have been more prepared mentally?
Well, that's where goal setting comes in.
Okay, goal setting.
Fitzgerald says instead of focusing on that huge goal,
Turning pro?
yeah, way out there,
Right.
she should have broken it down.
Smaller goals.
Yeah, manageable chunks.
Like focus on the mile.
Yeah, the next surge, stay present.
So don't ignore the big picture,
Right.
but have steps along the way.
Stepping stones.
Makes sense, but isn't that kind of obvious?
Well, we all set goals.
Right.
But Fitzgerald highlights time-based goals.
Okay, time-based goals.
There's a study
Okay.
where students had time targets
Okay.
for a test.
Okay.
They did way better.
Than the ones who are just told to do their best.
Exactly. It's not just about wanting to improve.
It's about having a target.
A concrete target.
Makes it more real.
More tangible.
Yeah.
That's daunting.
It changes how you see effort.
Exactly.
Instead of just push hard.
Right.
It's hit that time.
And Fitzgerald uses Greg LeMond's Tour de France win as an example.
Oh yeah, 1989.
He was way behind.
Going into the final time trial.
But he paced himself perfectly.
Focused on each split.
And won by 8 seconds.
8 seconds? That's
It's
insane.
not about a close call.
But it wasn't just physical pacing.
Right.
Lamont had been through a lot.
Yeah, he had a terrible accident.
Almost died.
Team drama, self-doubt,
To come back from that.
takes serious mental strength.
And Fitzgerald points out,
Yeah.
Lamont was known for using his frustration
His anger
Oh,
even...
as fuel.
Yeah, remember, angry resolve. It's
Yeah.
not just a mindset.
There's a real physical response.
Your body reacts.
It helps you push harder.
Exactly. It's like turning negative emotion.
Into rocket fuel.
There you go again.
Rocket fuel.
But Fitzgerald is careful to say,
Yeah.
it's not about letting anger control you.
You've got to channel it.
Find healthy outlets, change your perspective.
It's not why me.
Right.
It's what can I learn?
Exactly. That builds resilience.
It's all about learning and growing.
Which brings us to Paula Newby-Fraser.
The Queen of Kona.
8-time Ironman champion.
She could handle so much pain.
It's incredible.
Makes you wonder, are some people just born tough?
Well, genetics do play a role
Okay.
in pain tolerance.
But Fitzgerald says
Yeah.
psychological factors are huge, like our thoughts and beliefs.
Our experience.
It all shapes how we see pain.
And how we respond to it.
So it's not just about being tough.
No.
It's about knowing your pain signals.
Understanding the difference between pushing through
Yeah.
and risking injury.
Even Newby-Fraser had to learn that.
Yeah, she got caught up in a training trend.
Okay.
High intensity.
And got injured.
Yeah, she was sidelined.
It's a good reminder.
That even elite athletes,
Have to find that balance.
between pushing limits,
And respecting your body.
it's not just about being a bulldozer.
It's about being a navigator
Yeah, adjusting to the terrain,
to the conditions.
your own internal weather.
But how do you do that?
That's where Fitzgerald's idea of personalized training comes in.
Okay, personalized mental training.
He gives you all these tools.
Like what?
Visualization, self-talk, goal setting, mindfulness.
All right.
But there's no one-size-fits-all.
So it's like he gives you the ingredients.
Yeah.
But you create your own recipe.
Experiment, see what works.
Build your mental toolkit.
Based on what you need.
But isn't that a little overwhelming?
It can be.
Where do you even begin?
Fitzgerald says, start with self-awareness.
Okay, self-awareness.
Paying attention to your thoughts, your emotions, your body.
So just noticing.
It sounds simple.
But it's not.
It's harder than you think.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's easy to get carried away,
By our thoughts.
especially when things get tough.
When you're in the middle of it.
Yeah, but the more aware we are,
Yeah.
the better we get at choosing helpful thoughts.
So we can control our reactions.
To a certain extent, yeah.
And once we understand our internal state,
We can start looking at external factors.
like the group effect.
Yeah, how being part of a team can boost performance.
Right, but there's got to be a downside too.
There is. Fitzgerald talks about negative team dynamics,
Okay.
lack of support, isolation.
It can sabotage you.
It's a reminder that we're not in a vacuum.
We're affected by our environment.
By the people around us.
So find your tribe.
Find people who inspire you, challenge you.
But what about comparing yourself to others?
It's natural, especially in competition.
You see what others are doing?
Fitzgerald says true mental toughness
Yeah.
is about finding balance.
Between drawing strength from others
Yeah.
and staying true to yourself.
Your own path.
So be inspired by your teammates.
But don't let them define your success.
It's about the whole team's journey,
Exactly.
not just individual wins.
And that leads to a major point Fitzgerald makes.
Okay.
Success isn't just about finishing first. It's about how you grow along the way.
What you learn, how you become more resilient.
It's about becoming a better version of yourself
Exactly.
that takes the pressure off.
It's not about being the best,
It's about your personal journey
which is more sustainable
and more fulfilling.
in the long run, yes.
But how does this connect to living a longer, healthier life?
Well, Fitzgerald talks about how positive personality traits,
Okay.
like optimism and conscientiousness,
Yeah.
they're linked to longevity.
So being positive can actually help you live longer.
It can, and while some of it is genetic,
Yeah.
you can develop these traits.
So you don't have to be born with it.
You can train yourself to be more resilient.
More optimistic.
Yeah,
Even more outgoing.
it's possible.
That's encouraging.
It is, and even if you
So-
don't have those specific traits,
Yeah.
Fitzgerald says cultivating passions can help.
Okay. Passions, like hobbies. Things that excite you, give you purpose.
It can have the same effect.
Similar.
He
Yeah.
talks about Ned Overend,
Yeah, the mountain biker.
who became an off-road triathlete,
Later in his career.
and Natasha Badman.
She didn't start competing until her late 20s and
Yeah.
won the Ironman 6 times.
6 times, that's amazing.
It's about finding that thing that fuels you.
Your why.
It keeps you young,
It gives you a reason to push.
even when it's hard.
So it's not just about winning a race.
No,
It's about wanting a life full of meaning.
a life with purpose.
That's a much bigger question
It is.
and more inspiring
Absolutely. And Fitzgerald helps us answer it.
by giving us the tools,
To find that inner strength.
resilience, passion.
And he talks about social influence.
Remember the audience effect, how performing in front of others can make us try harder.
Yeah, like when you run faster if someone's watching.
Totally. But are we doomed if we're alone?
Not necessarily. Fitzgerald says we can create our own audience.
Even when we're solo?
we can tap into that desire to be seen positively.
And use that as motivation.
It could be sharing your goals with a friend,
Or posting your progress online.
even just imagining someone you admire is watching.
You're creating accountability.
Even if it's self-imposed,
We're always performing for someone.
even if it's a future version of ourselves.
And Fitzgerald takes it a step further.
Yeah.
He talks about an internal audience,
Okay.
like your values, beliefs, aspirations,
Things that guide you.
even when no one's looking.
He uses Steve Prefontaine as an example.
The guy who raced like every race was his last.
Exactly. He believed anything less than his best was a betrayal of the sport,
He was accountable to something bigger.
to his own internal code.
Fitzgerald says wasn't motivated by winning.
It was about living up to his own standards.
That's powerful.
It's a reminder that true mental toughness
Yeah.
is about aligning your actions with your values.
Finding meaning in the struggle. So it's not just how bad do you want it? It's how much do you believe in what you're doing?
That's where the real strength comes from.
That's a message that goes way beyond sports.
Absolutely. It applies to any challenge in life.
Whether it's running a marathon or getting through a tough day.
It's that inner drive that matters,
That sense of purpose.
that helps you reach your full potential.
And speaking of pushing limits,
Yeah.
Fitzgerald takes us even further down the rabbit hole.
I'm ready. Let's go. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have
Anger, time-based goals.
internal audiences.
What else does Fitzgerald have for us?
Well, remember that study about the watching eyes?
Oh, yeah, people littering less when there were pictures of eyes around.
It turns out even the illusion of being watched
Yeah.
can change our behavior.
You're kind of funny, but also a little creepy.
It is.
Like, our brains are hardwired for approval,
We want to look good.
even if it's just a picture.
But think about what that means.
Okay.
We can use this to our advantage.
You mean the audience effect? Yeah, create that pressure internally.
Even when we're alone.
Yeah.
So if I'm tempted to skip a workout.
You picture your coach watching.
Exactly. Suddenly the couch isn't so appealing.
Like a mental trick.
But isn't that kind of manipulative?
Maybe, but aren't all these mental techniques?
I guess so.
We're hacking our own minds?
Using psychology to reach our goal.
And Fitzgerald says one of the best hacks is building an internal audience.
That reflects your values.
Exactly, like Steve Prefontaine.
The guy who raced all out every time.
He had his own internal code.
It wasn't just about winning. It's about honoring his values.
Even when no one was watching.
His internal audience was always there.
That kind of commitment is powerful.
It's fuel for the soul.
It's about aligning your actions with your why.
And that brings us to a key point Fitzgerald makes.
Okay, let's hear it.
Mental toughness isn't just about external goals.
It's about living a better life.
A longer, healthier, more fulfilling life.
So there's a link between mental toughness and longevity.
He says there is. And he points to research on personality traits, like optimism,
Conscientiousness.
being outgoing.
Those are linked to a longer lifespan.
Wow, so being positive can help you live longer.
It can. And while some of that is genetic,
Okay.
you can still develop these traits.
So even if you weren't born with a sunny disposition,
You can cultivate those qualities.
that contribute to a healthier life.
It's encouraging, right?
It is, but what if you're not naturally inclined that way?
Fitzgerald says, even then, you can find your passions.
Passions, okay.
Things that light you up, give you purpose.
It can have a similar effect.
Like Ned Overend, the mountain biker.
He crushed it in triathlons later on,
And Natasha Badman, she started competing in her late 20s.
then became an Ironman champion.
6 times.
It's like finding your passion gives you that extra push.
That drive to keep going, even when it's hard.
It's not just about crossing the finish line.
It's about wanting a life full of meaning.
A life that matters.
And that's something we all want.
It's a question worth thinking about.
It is. And Fitzgerald gives us the tools to answer it.
But build that mental strength, that resilience.
It's been a great journey exploring these ideas.
Me too. This deep dive has given me so much to think about.
Not just for athletics.
For life in general.
We all have this capacity for growth.
For adaptation, for resilience.
And understanding our minds helps us tap into that.
It's pretty incredible.
It is. And remember,
Yeah.
the real challenge is between our ears.
It's all about how bad you want it.
And the answer is often within.
So keep exploring, keep pushing, keep believing,
Until next time.
keep diving deep.